Franchising is the most misunderstood and most overlooked form of entrepreneurship. We're here to educate you and help you find the entrepreneur within. Franchising is not all about the French fries.
We find that individuals who are exploring business ownership tend to have a lot of misperceptions and misunderstandings about the franchise industry. So what we want to do is help prospective business owners make confident and educated decisions before moving forward or not moving forward with a business. Welcome to Unpredicted Entrepreneur. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. We're so excited that you joined us today. As you know, the foundation for our show is to bring you education regarding franchise and business ownership. And so today we want to welcome our guest. His name is Austin Meek, and Austin is the relationship, let me make sure I get this right, broker relationship manager with Neighborly Brands. So Austin, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Roxanne and Sarah. It's really nice to be here. So my name is Austin. I am normally based in Waco, Texas, where our original Neighborly headquarters are. But just this summer, we opened up a brand new office in Las Colinas. So I've been bouncing back and forth between Las Colinas and Waco. And really, my gig is educating folks like you, franchise consultants, on all of the brands in our Neighborly portfolio. And ultimately, I want to be able to give you and Roxanne ammo that you can take to your potential franchisees and get them excited about the concepts that we have in our portfolio.
So, great segue. Before we start talking about all the brands in your portfolio, can you kind of take us back through the history? Just give us like a quick synopsis of, it's like 40 years, right? So kind of take us through that, and then we'll get into all the different brands.
Yeah, so let's turn the dial all the way back to 1981. Imagine you're living in a split-level home, and you have shag carpet everywhere, okay?
I remember those days.
Shag carpet is everywhere.
It was green.
That room is green. This room is purple. That room's pink. So the very first brand in our portfolio was called Rainbow International Carpet Cleaning and Dyeing. That's what we did. And it was called Rainbow International, really more aspirationally than anything else. It was only in Waco, Texas. There were no international locations at this time. But that was started by a guy named Don Dwyer. Don lived in Waco. He was a veteran himself. And he started this business and wanted to build a franchise system. So fast forward a few years after Operation Desert Storm, Don recognized that a lot of veterans were coming back from the war and not knowing what to do. They had the money and they had the desire to work, but they didn't really have the training. So that is when we partnered as the Dwyer Group with the IFA, the International Franchise Association, and we actually started a program that's called VetFran, which exists to this day. So every single Neighborly brand has a veteran discount that's associated with it if you've served in our country and you want to pursue franchise ownership. And for a lot of veterans who are looking for structure, they're looking for a team environment, franchise ownership really is probably what you should be considering when you're back stateside. But the brands really grew slowly from the 80s to the 90s, and it was really incremental growth until we got to about 2010. So in 2010, we had a portfolio of 7 brands, and that's when we started to get kind of aggressive. So from 2010 to 2014, we added 4 more brands. In 2015, we added 5 more brands. These are all in the home service space. And to take you up to 2021, we have a portfolio at Neighborly Brands of 28 concepts in 9 countries. We have about 5,000 franchisees. We are the world's largest franchisor of home service brands. And to give you an idea of just the scale of how this has grown, it took us until 2015 to reach our first $1 billion in system-wide sales. It took us until 2019 to reach our second $1 billion of franchise sales, and we're well on our way to our third $1 billion in system-wide sales in 2021. So as you can see, this has really literally been an exponential growth curve for Neighborly Brands.
Okay, so a couple of things that kind of stood out to me. You went from 1981 until 2010, and you said in 2010 you had 7 brands, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you've gone now in the last 11 years from 7 to 28,
Yes,
right? Okay.
It has been a really quick growth curve for us.
Yeah.
And this is in part fueled by private equity money. We're
Okay.
seeing private equity firms get interested in these franchise brands. And so just a few weeks ago, this summer in 2021, Neighborly Brands was acquired by a company called KKR. KKR is the third largest private equity firm in the world. And so by now having KKR and having their international supply chain at our disposal, at Neighborly Brands, we're starting to cook with gas, right? We are ready to light this franchise world on fire, really expand internationally, and also increase our support that we're able to give our almost 5,000 franchisees across the world.
So when you talk about Neighborly Brands, kind of tell us a little more. What does that mean? You mentioned Don Dwyer and the Dwyer Group, and then it evolved into Neighborly Brands. So kind of tell us a little bit about that history and kind of what how that transition took place and so forth.
Yeah, so the transition from Dwyer Group to the Neighborly Brands was really just a marketing thing. We recognized that outside of Waco, Texas, where we're headquartered, or outside of the franchise consulting world, the general consumer probably had no idea what the Dwyer Group meant. When you hear the word neighborly, that brings up a lot of connotations for folks. I'm in my neighborhood, I'm in my home. It helps you understand that all of these brands in our umbrella organization are part of this home service giant. So that was part of our transition with a private equity firm in 2018 when we rebranded from the Dwyer Group to Neighborly. And really, that was just us trying to be more visible in the public space. And it's been part of a much larger branding opportunity for us, where now, if you're driving around in your community, I don't care if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, or you're in Minneapolis, or New York, or LA, you are going to see a Mr. Electric vehicle driving around. You'll see a Mosquito Joe. You'll see an Air Serv. You'll see a Dryer Vent Wizard. But what you're going to see now, because we've rebranded, is that it's going to say Mr. Appliance, a Neighborly company. Housemaster, a Neighborly company. Real Property Management, a Neighborly company. And our vision as a company is to be so remarkable that we become a household name. What we're really trying to do with all the brands in our portfolio is to get you, the homeowner, to think, okay, it doesn't matter if a pipe is busted, or I need a light replaced, or I need my glass cleaned. I can call Neighborly, this one umbrella company, and they can send out the service professional for that specific brand, and they're going to come and do the work. So really, I think a good analogy for Neighborly Brands is to think of Neighborly like the primary care physician of your home. We want to be able to have a home service that can address anything that might happen in or around your house. So with our Neighborly app, which is actually about to hit the App Store, this is a great example of how this works. So let's say you had Mr. Handyman come over to your house, Sarah, and you had them replace all the air filters in your home. Well, what's going to happen is on the Neighborly app, you'll be able to look back at your service records. You can see exactly when the service was performed, and then you're going to get a ping in 2 or 3 months that says, hey, Sarah, is your breathing clogged up a little bit? We might need to replace those air filters. Press this button, and Mr. Handyman is going to come back, and they're going to do all that work for you. So owning a home is hard. For most people, your house is the most expensive investment that you have in your portfolio. And making sure that your home is working properly is really important. And so that's what we're trying to do at Neighborly, is to have a service that can address all of the issues that a homeowner might have, and to do it in an easy, transparent, and ultimately enjoyable way.
So you're kind of like the go-to, like Angie's List in a way, sort of, but you have all the brand, you've got everything there, and somebody doesn't have to spend time calling around and trying to find, especially, what I've learned is, being a homeowner, once you get someone in your home and you trust that person and they do a great job, you're usually asking that person, do you know someone that does this or that? Because I think all of us have also had some unpleasant experiences with contractor types, whatever type of contractor coming to our house and maybe not being as prompt or whatever, right?
Oh, for sure.
So I think when that very professional person comes out and does work in your home, there's you want to go back.
Well, and the name of the game with a lot of the brands in our portfolio is that the competition is not that hard. So imagine it's Thanksgiving, okay? You're about to have all your family come over, and 2 days before you realize that your toilet in the guest bathroom is clogged. I promise, if you get on Google and you search for plumbers in my area, maybe you call the top 10, 5 or 6 of them are going to go straight to voicemail. No one's going to answer that, okay? Maybe a couple of them will answer and say we can get to it in a couple weeks. With neighborly brands, it doesn't matter which neighborly brand that you're calling. That call can be routed to our national call center where someone in America is going to answer the call. They'll be able to schedule that call. They can get that service done quickly. And then on the day of the service, it needs to happen, right? We've all had that plumber come to our house. He got a cigarette in his lip, parked his truck in your driveway, leaving an oil spill. He brought an apprentice he didn't tell you about, okay? When Mr. Rooter shows up to make your problems disappear before your guests come over for Thanksgiving, he parks on the street in a branded vehicle that says Mr. Rooter, a neighborly company. You got a text message before letting him know, hey, this is what your service professional looks like. They're going to be here in 15 minutes. He's wearing booties on his feet so he doesn't drag mug into your house. Before he does the work, he's going to diagnose it and tell you exactly what the problem is and tell you exactly how much it costs. This is going to be a very transparent conversation that you have. And then at the end, he's going to say, thank you for using neighborly brands. If you want to enhance or improve your home, here are some things that we might use. Like if Mr. Electric is over there, the first thing they're going to do is going to go to your control panel. They're going to look at all of your electrical service. They're going to fix the issue that you called them for initially, but they're also going to leave you with a list of ways that your home can be improved, that your family can be safer. The average house in the United States is 38 years old. Think of how much technology has changed in 38 years.
Yeah.
A lot of the houses in America are tinder boxes, waiting to go up like that. That's why it's so important to have a company like Dryer Vent Wizard come out, service the dryer that you have in your home, because the buildup of dryer lint is the number one cause of house fires in the States. There's a house fire every 36 minutes in the States. So many families are sitting there with literally a very flammable object inside their home, whether it's exposed wiring or it's dryer lint or whatever it might be, and Neighborly can be there to make sure that your main investment stays safe and well maintained.
So one of the things that, really stood out to me with what you just said was the whole technology thing, the call center, for example. And so prior to joining FranNet from 2006 to 2012, I actually worked for a website and online marketing firm, and our clients were generally contractors, electricians, plumbers, HVAC. And oftentimes when I was working with them, they were the person answering the phone. And I always felt for them that they're trying to run their business from their truck, schedule things, actually do the work. They were doing the work in the business. So I can see that call center as just being a huge advantage to franchisees. And then the other thing, when I think about the convenience for the homeowner, was just the proactivity, because to your point, owning a home is hard and there's a lot to keep up with. And I'll be the first person to tell you that I don't change my air filters as much as I should. So if somebody prompted me, hey, it's time for that, or let's clean your windows again, I think that could be really advantageous for obviously franchisees and the homeowner. So it's a win-win for everyone.
There's more dual income households now than ever before in U.S. history. And so when you've been working your tail off from 8 to 6 every day, you really don't want to come home and clean those baseboards. On Saturday, I'm sorry, I don't want to get up on a ladder and clean my gutters. But I made enough money this week that I would like to pay somebody to come and do all that for me.
So that's a big thing too that I think about, like we were kind of talking about different demographics and kind of age groups. And, the people our age, I think, are at a point in their life where I've been there, done that. I don't want to spend my Saturday doing it. Younger people that dual income, 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever, just frankly don't have the time, and their kids have sporting activities and games and things like that. And so it just isn't of interest to be able to, spend your weekends doing that.
And a generational educational gap a lot of times too. Like growing up, my dad never taught me how to mount our TV. And it's because my dad never had to mount it because his dad did all that handyman stuff himself.
Yes.
And so I never learned how to be a handyman because my father didn't teach me. So I have YouTube now. I can learn to do most anything. But once again, am I going to really be spending 4 hours on a Saturday frustrated that, oh no, I need this power tool, and then I have to go to Lowe's and get it and then come back, and then all of a sudden my weekend's eaten up? No, I would much rather pay somebody to come and do that work for me.
So let's transition, because you guys are both, there's a lot of good points from the homeowner side and the business side, but I want to transition that a little bit to what we're seeing with interest in business ownership. So we're talking about all these home services. We've been told by many home service brands, Neighborly and outside of Neighborly, that franchisees had their best year ever in 2020, and that's still continuing. So there's that side of this, but there's also another side, which is there are a lot of people interested now in owning businesses that relate to home services because they've seen what's happened. So I'm interested to know how much growth you've seen as far as people jumping into these types of businesses, and then just touching on confirming what I said, what I've heard about like numbers and performance during COVID.
Roxanne, Sarah and you are right in the thick of this. You know what's happening in franchising, and home services has been the it sector. When a lot of people think of franchising, they immediately think of McDonald's or they think of a Pilates studio. But you don't always think about plumbing, electricity, et cetera.
Right.
And once again, at Neighborly, that is all we do. We are 100% home services. We are the world's largest franchisor of home service brands. So yes, 2020 was a very successful year for Neighborly as a company because everybody was stuck at home, right? So if you're going to be stuck in this place for an extended period of time, you don't know when you're going to get out, you sure as hell want to make sure that that backyard is usable. You used to not need to go to the backyard because it was a mosquito pit and you could just go to the mall. You could go to another friend's house. You're not doing that anymore. So you have to be able to use that backyard. You're going to have Mosquito Joe come and spray that. People have used the pandemic when they've been spending more time at home than ever to really improve their homes because they are spending more time there. For a brand like Mr. Appliance, exploded during COVID because that microwave that you used to just use on Friday nights for popcorn with the family, you're now using 10, 15, 20 times a week to heat up every single meal you have. And these appliances are not built to last, right? So that's when you have Mr. Appliance come, because once again, if there's a pandemic, if the entire shelves are cleared out at Walmart, you are not going to go to Walmart, expose yourself to a potential disease just to realize, oh, they don't even have what I'm looking for. You would rather have Mr. Appliance come and repair your appliance rather than replace it wholly, save yourself a little bit of money. And so, yeah, what you're talking about in terms of the trends, we have for sure seen at Neighborly. And like I said, we are well on our way to that $3 billion mark in system-wide sales, which would be a high mark for us as a company in 40 years.
So one last thing that I was kind of curious about, in terms of how the brands kind of work together. And so is it true that if I have Molly Maid come out and clean my home, that I might get a coupon a few weeks later for one of the other brands, like for Window Genie or, something else kind of relevant in your home maintenance?
Yeah, so
brands?
download the Neighborly app. That is the way that we're going to be able to communicate with you. Really, what we're trying to do is to convince our customers who use one Neighborly brand and have a fabulous experience with that to also use the other Neighborly brand for their property management needs or home cleaning needs or window cleaning needs, whatever it might be. So yeah, we are still in the nascent stages of rolling out this app and finding the right ways to incentivize customers to use multiple brands. But at Neighborly, a customer that uses multiple brands is far more valuable for us than a customer that uses only a single brand, because we only have to market to them once and it's for multiple brands, right? So yes, we are totally aligned with the consumer and trying to give you a value proposition that makes sense so that you can use multiple Neighborly brands to keep your home enhanced, maintained, and repaired.
That's great.
Well, thank you, Austin, for being our guest today and educating us on home services brands and on Neighborly. I know this show focused a lot today on homeowners and consumers, but I hope it gives you some insight into the possibilities of homeownership from a business sense and potentially owning a home services business. And also the fact that you guys are here and you're local, so that could even lend to more support as a newer franchisee in the system. So once again, we're here to educate you and bring you good information. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Thank you for joining us. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Roxanne Rapsky or Sarah Wasco. You can also follow our YouTube channel.
Yes, and thanks again for listening in to Unpredicted Entrepreneur, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.